Hey, everybody. You know what time it is. We're going to go ahead and get live with you guys. One good time. As always, it's your man, Leo Brown. I am to your left and to my right, my man, Mr. Nicholas Vaughn. What's happening?
What's
man?
happening, man?
What we doing?
I'm excited, dude.
Dude, excited?
Dude, I've been dreaming about this week for a while.
Dude.
You know,
I've been dreaming about it too, but let me tell you what I haven't been dreaming about. Is working this damn hard.
Well, that's my fault. Sorry, but it's usually my fault. So it's fine. I'm okay as long as I own up to it.
Listen, I'm good with it. We're having fun. I mean,
Yes.
We got hella guests coming in. We got a hell of a guest today. I cannot wait for you guys to see all of this. What we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be drinking, what we're actually drinking right now. This is just real stupid. Trying to tell you guys. So if you like tequila, you're gonna love this tequila, and this is no joke. You guys know how I do it. I don't put anything out there unless I believe in the product, and I'm gonna drink it and smoke it myself. And I'm gonna tell you right now, in the house with us today is the brand that I want to tell you guys about, that we want to tell you guys about. And I'm just trying to tell you, you haven't seen it in the stores just yet, but you're about to see it every damn where. So we're gonna take our time. And we're going to welcome in some of the best damn tequila that we have tasted on the planet. We told you guys we're going global. I cannot express just how much I love what it is that we are tasting today, Nick.
Yes.
And we're just going to go ahead and get it started, man. Welcome in the gentlemen from Tequila Cayeya, Charles and Sam.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Listen.
Good to have you guys here, man.
Listen, it's one thing to drink tequila. It is another thing to drink damn good tequila. And I just want to say thank you guys for coming in. Once again, the lovely Andrea has gone above and beyond what we ever expected. You guys don't know Andrea. She's not going to come on camera, so don't worry about it.
BTS.
But just understand, yes, she is part of BTS. And if you don't know what BTS is, it's Barrels and Leaves Behind the Scenes. So with that being said, she is definitely behind the scenes with us. We love her. We thank you very much, Andrea. We couldn't be this far so far without you. So thank you. Really mean that.
That just means we're going to ask her to do more shit.
Yeah, she's doing more shit. No, I'm not worried about that. So, like we said, with us today, we have Charles and Sam. I cannot talk to you guys enough about the tequila. So this is what Behind the Brand is going to do. We're going to take you behind the brand of Tequila Cayeya. Charles, what's going on, man?
How we doing? Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, buddy.
So let's just jump right in, man. I mean, Andrea told us about this tequila. She came into the lounge and she said, you guys have got to try this tequila. I'm like, I'm not a big tequila guy, but I'll try some tequila. It's part of what we do. We drink and we smoke and we pair things, So she brought out the first bottle, and I said, "This is not a Blanco." That's the first thing. This is not a Blanco. So she pulled out the Repo. I said, "What the hell is this?" And I didn't even want to try the Añejo. She poured it for me, but I couldn't drink it. I was in the midst of doing everything. So I'm definitely going to try this on camera. So I want you to get the real reaction of what I think. So let's just get into it, man. Who are you, man? Where did you come from?
So I grew up in New York. So born and raised in New York. And I actually worked in the liquor industry in college. I interned at Casamigos right when they got their import license into the U.S. So I kind of got the front row seat to what it was like setting up a brand in the U.S. Obviously, they had the Randy Gerber, George Clooney thing going on. Yeah. But I was going through their Instagram and flagging posts that they had their kids wearing Casamigos merch because it was just a passion project for them. And it was turning into a real brand with Sidney Frank. So I was there, and then I was the college ambassador at the University of Michigan for Beatbox Beverages, which was on Shark Tank.
Represent.
Yeah, and so they would have me bring in the Beatbox bags to parties, and essentially they would just give me budget to go in and launch Beatbox in Michigan. And then after school, I worked for Diageo Moët Hennessy in a distributor management development program. And then my last job before starting Tequila Cayeya with Sam was I worked at Whistlepig. So I started as the New York
so
guy.
big.
Yep.
Nice. What were you doing? What's big? Were you a rep?
So I started as the New York market manager, and then right at the end of my career there, I was running the Northeast.
Very cool.
So you have the in on tequila.
Yeah.
So what? So was the Clooney effect, quote unquote? Was it really an accident?
So the story, as I understand it, is they were all neighbors in a development down in Cabo, and they were making tequila for them and their friends, and started bringing it up in truckloads to California so that they could drink what they were drinking in Mexico back home. And they finally got flagged by the government, being like, you can't just import a bunch of shit without having
Where you going?
the proper paperwork.
Well, I'm Clooney.
Right.
And that's where they got involved with the Sidney Frank folks and created a real brand out of it. So, I mean, I think they did a really good job weaving the celebrity and making it an organic growth. And it's not like, here's my face on something that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. Just to let you guys know where we are today, we are at Asire Cigar Lounge, 230 Thornton Road, out in Lithia Springs. Make sure you guys come down here, man. This is one hell of a place. You cannot beat the environment, can't beat the atmosphere. They have a full bar, food, cigars, music.
And the vibe, man. It's a great vibe here.
Dude,
Yeah.
you cannot beat this.
Yeah.
So, listen, I like I said, I'm not a huge tequila drinker, but man, let me just show you guys what I want to talk about next, which this is the Blanco. Look at the bottle how you will, figure it out how you want to. Which side is the front, which side is the back? Obviously, we're going to say the back is going to be where the label is with this SKU, right? But shit, you take that off and you just got a water bottle, you know? So listen, man, I love this Blanco. And like I told everybody before, is that, look, you don't have a Blanco that tastes like a Rebel. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard that from any of your customers, but when I think of a Blanco, I'm thinking, you know, some floral, I'm thinking agave, I'm thinking it's going to be strong on the bite, you know, on the finish.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't get that at all. So talk to us a little bit more about the Blanco.
Yeah, so we didn't want to just do another Blanco expression. To your point, I think a lot of Blancos on the market are very agave forward and come out with this big strong bite. And a lot of the times you use a barrel to sort of round out the flavor profile so you get a little bit smoother. Smooth is not a great word, but smoother finish.
Yeah.
So what we were doing with our Blanco is we really wanted to focus in on making an approachable taste profile that still highlighted the agave, but ultimately it was Mr. Versatility. It's your everyday agave. It's, you can drink it on the rocks, you can drink it neat, you can mix it in a cocktail. You're not going to lose it in the cocktail, but it's also not going to offend you drinking it neat, like you said. So when you taste it, you get a lot of the agave, but at the same time, it's like very well rounded. There's a little bit of sweetness, and it finishes really easy. It doesn't have that like wincing face bite that you would get when people were drinking tequila. And I think a lot of people in tequila have a hard time, or people that are getting into tequila, always their first experience is vodka flavored tequila at the college bar, and to see a lot more attention to detail when it comes to tequila production. So you'll find things that you like that you would never have expected.
Well, I tell you, this I challenge everybody to just drink this Blanco by itself. Don't make a drink out of it. Drink it by itself first. Not even with.
I'm kind of curious. With this new launch, and we've seen the last 5 years, last decade. Tequila, mezcal, agave spirits as a whole is just inundating this country, and there's a lot out there, like every other liquor. What's been the biggest challenge for you guys as really an ultra premium? I mean, when you get out of the Blanco, the ultra premium category, have you seen difficulty with trying to grab, those people that are used to drinking these other styles, maybe to mix those that they don't know, or these tequilas that are not 100% agave? What has been the biggest challenge so far for you guys, just really in this market? I mean, you've been here, 3 days? Yeah. I mean, you probably
Totally,
absorbed a lot of information. So
yeah. I think ultimately, when you ask challenges, I think you alluded to the celebrity brand stuff. It's easy to get them on the forefront. Everybody knows who they are right out of the gate. I think the hard thing for us, and what's exciting about doing this as well, so every challenge brings an opportunity, is the fact that we're growing this through industry people like yourself and through Andrea and finding advocates for the brand behind the bar and at liquor stores. So I think the hard part is getting it into people's hands because it's not going to be on the side of your distributor truck every day, and it's not going to be on a billboard downtown Atlanta. It's one of those things that you got to discover in your own path. So I think the biggest challenge for us, and as you say, getting into the premium side, is getting people to taste it and realizing the quality.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you this, so for the Blanco, for me, man, I mean, the bottle itself, like I was showing, it looks like you guys on the website, accordingly, it says that you guys use bottles
Recycled
Coke.
Mexican
So we, funny enough, so we designed the bottle ourselves. We're not designers by trade, but we've picked it up throughout the process. Sam downloaded Adobe, and
Nice.
we play around with technical drawings, and we take inspiration from things we like. Like if you look at the neck, it's very Fort Gin inspired, so that bartenders can get their hands under it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the glass is 100% recycled Mexican Coca-Cola bottles. The corks are French consolidated wine corks that are recycled. The metal's recycled. The labels recycled craft paper. So even down to the shipping carton that we use is all recycled materials.
That's awesome.
Dang.
Damn.
And the whole, sorry, is it okay if I interject?
You
here,
can
too?
interject as much as you want.
Sorry, no,
It's
but
your show.
our whole thing was really great for the two of us is when we were talking about the sustainability aspect behind it. The way we actually we launched the brand, the repo actually came first, which is funky because a lot of people don't do that.
Right.
But when Charlie and I went down to Mexico, we had visited this specific glass factory that specializes in hand-blown glass. And the second we saw the factory and fell in love with their process and what they were doing, we said, we have to create something for our Blanco that is in this type of recycled glass. But furthermore, how can we create a product that is beautiful enough? And you're right, it looks like a water bottle, right? And a lot of the strategy behind that was intentional so that a bar or restaurant, if you go into, markets that we've been in a long time, you'll go in and you'll see all of their water bottles on their table. There are bottles.
Yep.
They're using them. So we're actually a product that's sustainable in the sense that it's not just us on our website saying this is our mission statement to be sustainable, and then it goes in the garbage.
Right.
It has potential for real secondhand use, whether it's girls putting flowers in this, or it's the restaurant filling it with water, or the bartenders putting simple syrup so that they're batching their cocktails before their shifts.
So then it's still recycled.
That's it,
Yeah,
man.
so
That's
it's continuing to get
yeah.
recycled.
Wow.
Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I love bars reusing their liquor bottles. Like we're starting to see it a lot more. Obviously, with recognizable liquor bottles, you kind of know, but like that's the point. It seems like a very user bartender friendly bottle because of how
the neck is,
and then how the base is in terms of grabbing it, which, as we all know, is important. I mean, Simon Ford from Ford's was like that guy. He wanted to make this easy for the bartenders to be able to use. So
Yeah,
kudos
that was
to
all
that.
intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, with Blanco being 80% of the tequila category and being like most people are mixing it, most people are using it high volume, we didn't want a bottle that was going to trip up the bartenders or make it difficult. So that's why the design is even different from the other bottles.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. Woo, God, man, I have so many other. All right, let's dive into the brand. So Cayeya, what is Cayeya? What's the mission behind it? I did read that you have a female distiller, Sandra Gomez.
Sandra Gomez, yeah.
Talk about her.
Yeah, 100%.
I heard that Cayeya was like a city in central Puerto Rico or something.
So Cayeya is a city in Puerto Rico, but the name actually comes from Cayeya in Spain, spelled Caella. And we changed it phonetically so that people weren't calling it Calela. And so
Smart.
It's a Spanish port city that they used a lot of Mexican architecture to inspire, and they brought over some of the best architects from Mexico to inspire the design. So even if you go there today, it's got stained glass windows and it's got clay shingles and all the things that you see in Mexico, you'll actually see in that port city in Spain. It was also the city sort of like harmoniously that Sam decided that we were going to do this thing. So it was just like looking around the inspiration, and it was like, what are we going to call our tequila brand? And it was like,
I love it. That's pretty cool.
A few drinks deep, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually happy accidents come from late drunk nights, right?
No, it was good. We had the concierge at the hotel I was staying with my girlfriend. We said, what should we do over here? And she's like, you have to go to Cayeya. And the second she said the name,
It was like, man.
it was. I was like, shit, I fucking love the way
Blown
that.
away.
Guys, can you say that one more time for me? And I was like, there's something here. And then I saw how it was spelled, and I was like, no one's going to say this the right
No,
way
no.
at all. And by the way, people still have problems saying Cayeya,
Yeah.
which makes me happy because if you know about it, then you know how to say it.
Right.
If you don't, it's okay.
That's right.
But, you know,
But it draws interest.
correct. Absolutely. So we went up and we rented, my girlfriend and I rented a little stick shift Mini Cooper.
Good.
We drove up the coast. And then we got there, and if you guys have a chance to go there one day, I highly recommend it. Beautiful, it's a port city, but great seafood. So paella and fresh shrimp and just gorgeous seafood while you sit there on the coast. But it's a very low key city. It's not bougie or expensive or crazy.
Yeah.
It's really local. So everyone's got a grill out. Everybody's cooking. It almost looks like the Amalfi Coast in Italy. It's beautiful, but it's got a lot of Mexican influence, as Charlie said, on the architecture, and it's beautiful. So that was kind of the inspiration behind it.
You guys are killing me with this.
So I'm thinking paella with Cayeya.
Correct.
We already got that trademark.
As soon as
By the way, when you tell people about the name, we go, if you're having trouble saying it, think about the Spanish
Paella.
dish paella and add a C to it. Cayeya.
Yeah.
And
That's
paella, by the way, is with two L's in it, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
I think
Yeah,
not one L,
it is.
two
yeah,
L's.
it is. 2 L's.
But you roll the L's, right?
Right.
Paella.
Depending on where
Paella.
you use the word paella.
You know more than I do on that.
Yeah, because there are some paellas that you do spell with Y.
Yeah, there you go.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Man,
Yes.
I learned a lot today.
Is it depending on where the region is
Yes,
or where it
that's
comes
absolutely
from?
correct. I was
Got
trying to think which region. I'll think of it during the show. though.
Sure.
Yep. But yeah.
All right.
And if you go to Argentina, they say Cayeya. That's how they say it. That's because they roll the sh with the Y's.
Oh.
Where there's a Y, it's Cayeya. It's their accent. So you have all of these
Like
different.
Kaiser Sosa.
Exactly.
Good analogy.
Exactly.
no, but the distiller. You guys have a female distiller, which
Mhm.
one of course, we're in a different age, and today, when women taking the lead and things. But I love it. I have a mother, I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would love for my daughter to be in charge of the company that I'm starting to build. But you guys have a female distiller.
Yeah, and also, which isn't on our website, but really cool, she actually grew up in the city that our distillery is in. So she grew up in San Juanito, went to the University of Guadalajara to study chemical reactions, and that's where she learned her distillation and came back to the distillery and helped them. She's been their only master distiller to grow this distillery from. Previously, there were agave cultivators for most of the big tequila houses, and then they brought her in to help actually create a distillation house.
So is that common in tequila? I mean, again, I hate to make the analogy because I seem Leo's tired of me. There in Armenia, very common for almost everybody in that family to just be winemakers, and then they usually bring in the rolling still, and someone's coming in distilling it and then moving on.
Right.
Is it same with the tequila? Is there a lot of contract distillers down there that are making a lot of liquid for? I mean, obviously, transparency, we don't see that.
So I'll give you this kind of ties into the brand founding story, right? So we started our brand like any Brooklyn would do. We Googled label tequila distillery in Mexico.
You guys sit out on the street corners with it.
Yeah.
Selling it out of a trunk, getting feedback from the
so
block.
We rolled down to Mexico, and we went to all the big houses that make some tequila distilleries. There's only about 215 accredited tequila distilleries by the CRT. So if you think about how many brands, I think the last thing that just came up was Tequila Matchmakers putting on about 40 new brands a month.
Yeah,
so you're looking at about 400 new brands a year out of 200 distilleries. So a lot of that bulk business comes from the same 10 to 15 distilleries that all start and finish their search where we started our search of hey, where do we make tequila in Mexico? Go to one distillery. They make brands like Los Sundays or a big, you name it, they're making it there. And a lot of people are okay, great. Now we can make tequila. We have a bottle and let's go. For us, we just didn't feel like that was the right fit. We aren't George Clooney and Randy and The Rock, and we can't throw our face on something and just make it move. So we were actually sitting at a bar, El Gallo Altanero in Guadalajara, just talking about our woes of the trip and just how excited we were to go down there and how we were just disappointed in this what the distillery options that we had seen so far. And some guy kind of overheard our conversation and came over and he's a native to Guadalajara, and he barely spoke any English, and was like, tequila, like, I'll take you. And we were like, what do you mean? And he's like, shows us like a picture, and he's like, distillery. I was like, okay. And we were with Sam's brother. It was me, Sam, and his brother, and Sam's brother's like very conservative and doesn't want to, wouldn't ever. Sam and I are like, fuck it, let's go. And so we tell the guy, like, this is where we're staying, pick us up tomorrow. Shows up, we get in this car, and all the tequila distilleries that we were going to were all Highlands. So we had gone a few times, so we knew what the route was, and they're all kind of on the same street or in the same direction. This distillery is in the Lowlands, so we took a different turn.
And
we're like, okay.
Wait a minute, where the hell are we going?
Might be the trunk dead.
Yeah, right. We were like, this is where we made a bad decision. And so Sam's brother's like dropping pins to his mom. I'm like texting my girlfriend, like, this is our last known location.
This is our last. Yeah, we're dropping off the map here.
In case I don't see you again.
I made that bad joke too. My little brother, I said, if they're gonna kill us, I'll go first. And he wasn't happy about that. He was pretty shaken.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously we're still here, so a happy ending. We show up at our distillery. They grow their own agave. It's all single estate grown. At the time we went there, they only were producing their house brands and like one other brand. So we felt like we could really grow with them and be an organic fit. And their whole philosophy was like quality, not quantity. So they weren't going to just try to onboard as many people that wanted to start tequila brands. They're really looking to pick and choose the brands that they partnered with and their philosophies, and they let us be innovative. And as we get into the Repo and Añejo and sort of future innovation for us, they were really open to all of that. And it's really tough in Mexico because the CRT, there's a lot of corruption. So their job is to make sure that you're not short filling or putting GNS in and calling it.
They don't listen to this podcast. They're going to kill us.
Well, you know.
Corruption.
Well, you guys took the left
Hey,
instead
if
of
we
the
can
right.
be whistleblowers, I'm all right with that.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to live in Wixack, bro. I'm good.
No witness protection?
No, I'm good.
But yeah, so the CRT is in place to make sure that none of that happens. And so to do the single barrels expressions that we're doing and the cask finishing that we're doing, they have to be there in every step of the way. So it makes it really difficult and complicated to do, which is why you don't see a ton of it on the market.
Meaning innovative products with
Yeah.
tequila.
So this has got to be kind of cool because I'm a small brands guy, always have been, never been a volume guy. I know volume in this industry is where you make a lot of your money, whether you're a supplier, distributor, whatever. But I mean, for you guys, this is a pretty limited venture. Like, I mean, your traditional methods, very limited. Like, it's kind of cool to be able to be behind a brand like that and not have to, again, this is me, not have to worry about if you're moving 3,000 cases to Georgia and making sure it's all completed in 3 months.
I mean, to be honest, like the way we set up our business, like playing a little inside baseball, is we work. It's Sam and I, and we have like people like Andrea that work with us, but we don't have a huge team. It's really small. We have a couple people in Mexico, but ultimately we're not confined. Hey, this is the case number we need to hit this year, and like anything we need to do and sell ourselves to get there. It's really building the affinity for the brand through people like you, like a small brands person who appreciates good spirits. Yeah. And I think the one thing that I guess I'll challenge you on is I think the industry is moving away from like volume to like creating a product of integrity. Yep. And I think ultimately for us, it's like creating the halo around this product is like the pinnacle of what tequila should be and innovation in tequila, and not so worried about like we need to hit 10,000.
Yeah, look, I say the same thing about the cigar industry because if you look at cigars, there are less and less of 20 box count cigars. A lot of people are going to 10s, 7s, 13s even, So it only makes sense. Well, for the industry of cigars, it makes sense because of shelf space, right? For the liquor industry, it's just a matter of getting good product out each and every single time. Even with cigars, you start to manufacture so many cigars within a course of a day or a month, and you lose the quality.
Right.
And I believe that this is a good quality product. This is something that I would. Hell, my mother doesn't drink tequila, but I guarantee if I tell her to drink it, she'll love it. I've introduced a lot of things to her, but this is a good quality tequila, which is amazing to me about the Reposado. I mean, not the Reposado, but the Blanco. Mm-hmm. So that is really amazing to me. We haven't even touched the Reposado yet. Talked about it. We're touching it right now, but it's one thing I do pay attention to, which is quality. You want to make sure. I mean, everybody wants a quality product. Nobody wants the generic version of Levi's. They want Levi's because they know that they're strong and they're tough and they can last forever. You can wash them 10,000 times and they're still going to fit the same. And I believe the same thing as far as quality. Especially when it comes. This is the best tequila I've tasted. I'm not just saying because you guys are here. This is the best tequila I've tasted.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
It's the real deal.
And it's a labor of love. It's to make it is not a simple task. It's unique production processes. We spent a long time, even packaging alone. I think that's the first way you'll catch somebody's eye. But the end needs to be the liquid and the juice in the bottle needs to be and really speak for itself. And for us, it was not let's get this thing to market as fast as humanly possible. Let's take our time with this. Let's create something that again kind of speaks for itself, and we're not limited to. We need to go into Georgia, and our goal this year is to do 10,000 cases in Georgia just because, and our whole strategy is let's exit this thing and hit 100,000 9-liter cases and call it a day.
Right.
And I do think in terms of the way that the market is shifting, and even if you look at the M&A market in liquor, I think, it's funny you say, there's so many great craft brands, and there's craft brands that really take a long time to develop their liquid and juice and packaging. And it's because I think the industry is really shifting away from let's acquire a brand regardless of the value of just hitting a volume metric. Whereas if you've created a brand and you've created a product that can stand on itself, besides of just the bullshit marketing behind it and the celebrity and all that other crap, if you can create a brand, that's the hardest thing to do is to create a brand, right? So you got to put something in you got to put something in the bottle. We talk about this every day.
And we're going to get Sam in here because he's behind the camera.
Yeah.
He's
I
been
think I can
talking.
fit. I'll fit with you guys over there.
He's been talking behind the camera, you guys, and you guys don't even know what the hell he looks like.
Here, I'll bring the chair over there.
Charles has some important business.
Charles got to take care of some things.
Charles is the more handsome partner. Okay. He's better for FaceTime.
Everything is subjective.
Hey, exactly.
But no, we get everybody in here.
Yeah. No, but point being is, keep pouring up here.
I don't want to keep pouring up. I don't know.
Who knows where this will go? But
we may be on our way back to Jalisco.
Exactly. You wanna head to the airport with us at 7 p.m. and
don't tempt me with a good time.
Stand by.
We do that. We're not coming back. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Pour me a little more.
Yeah. But point being is, I think what a lot of the larger suppliers are looking at now, which is really interesting, is they're more compelled by brand story, by quality brands, and if you can build a brand on your own and you have a following, I almost equate it to like an independent artist of music, where like the supplier, the LVMHs, the Diageos, the Camparis, and so on and so forth, like they're the Universals, the Atlantic Records, they're the big guys, right? But if I was an independent artist and I just wanted to sign up with the largest record label, it's not that they're not going to do the most for me. Right? They're going to do the most if I've already got some traction and I've already got a cult following and people interested in our brand, on how we do things, what we're about, and then they can kind of take that and help us grow and scale. But the onus is really to build the brand. It's on us. It's not on anybody else.
Right.
So, and I think everybody's always mentality is it's tied to volume, it's the pump, and it's tied to volume to the extent of we'll do anything, we'll give people free bottles, we'll do this, we'll get the cost per ounce down, take placements, and we've never really been in that mentality of how we run the business. We get, brands just because we're in the industry and people are interested. Sorry to rant on this, but we're in the industry, so like we get these deals that come through all the time. And if you look at a P&L, and now we're talking numbers, it's like all of these brands are hemorrhaging cash, losing tons of money in hopes that they hope and pray at the end of the day that they're going to get acquired by somebody. But we don't do that shit. Our whole thing is we stand on our quality, we stand on our product, we stand on the way to export the product in a way that is authentic and not, let's get a well placement. That's not who we are. We're never going to compete with the big dogs to get down with a cost per ounce to be the well tequila. Yeah. And we've done really well we were cash flow positive our first year last year. Correct. And like, which is tough to say in this industry, but we really run this thing with passion and the extent of if people aren't ready for it now, they'll eventually figure it out.
Yeah.
It'll catch up.
Look, I look at it like this, especially like in the cigar side of things. You know, I pair a lot of cigars to a multitude of things: beer, spirits, wines, non-alcoholic, right? To pair a cigar with tequila is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
It took me about 2 years for one particular cigar to actually find the right pairing.
Wait till you try
Wow.
it.
Right? You know, listen, I'm afraid to try the añejo. I might have to run out after I try it. So I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you know, I definitely believe in, you know, marketing. You know, I believe in branding because when you brand, it leaves a top of mind kind of feel to people, you know. And there's a difference between marketing, branding, and advertising. I think people confuse the three.
Sure.
You know, so whenever you're branding, it needs to be top of mind. You know, you want people to remember, oh, wait, if I want tequila,
Correct.
Cayeya, you know.
100%.
And so going to that, you know, tell everybody how they can find you guys on social media, website, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we run a small shop. My girlfriend runs our social media.
She's awesome.
It's
I
not
looked at
a,
it. She's
but
awesome.
it's a Tequila Cayeya on Instagram and tequilacayeya.com for web. And we've got a small web shop, small Instagram. And we kind of have the mentality of we're doing very little marketing, advertising, and so on and so forth, which we'll get into, but I think there's a time for that. And for us, it's more of it's educational at this point. It's really kind of it's like the two of you. You guys are great. You're advocates now for the product. You've tasted it. You've experienced it. For us to come here, spend some time with you, give you more context on how we build the brand, what we're about, and how we position ourselves is more important than let's create an Instagram ad and try to get it to 1 million people with, you know, and no one's going to give a shit. They never heard of it. So I think it's always, you know, I was in the music business for a while, and I always equated to we play the local pubs first.
Yeah.
Get the music out there. Then you move to your 1,000 square foot.
There you go.
Venues, then you get more of a crowd in there.
Right.
You kind of work up higher and higher. Then you get to Madison Square Garden. But
Right.
you can't skip. You can't go from
No,
the pub
you
to the MSG.
Right.
You know, overnight. You
What?
gotta. You
Wait a
gotta
minute,
Do
hold
right.
on.
You gotta do the right things. And we hear. You know, what's crazy? We always create. And I worked for a company called Sovereign Brands for nearly 10 years. And
Oh yeah. I understand.
Brett Barrett's the CEO over there, has a great saying on all of his brands, which I've kind of taken a page out of his playbook, where brands are like kids. Like if you force the brand to do one thing, and if the kid likes music, but you're forcing the kid to play basketball, it's never going to be fun for him to play
Right.
basketball.
That's
So,
a good analogy. Yeah.
yeah, you just like go with what's kind of working for you. Be around people that want to work with you. It's the same thing with distribution for us. It's like, you know, everyone's like, go to California because that's the largest consumption market. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like we just had a call the other day with Missouri. Someone reached out from us from Missouri. But you know what? We'd rather go into Missouri because they want to work with us.
Right,
They're
sure.
more, there's a passion there for the product. And
Love it.
the working relationship's going to be better instead of like, let's sign up with some huge distributor with California. No one's going to
Correct.
give a shit about the brand.
Correct.
So it's like you want to play for the fans that are interested in following you, and I'm sorry, the people that are listening to your music and following you, and that's how you start something real and you create a movement, opposed to let's go huge overnight. It's
But
never
you know,
been like that.
this is what I like. You guys are sticking to the program.
Yeah,
When I heard you say, "Hey, we're a small company, we totally understand. We want to stick to what it is that we want to do. You're not selling out, quote unquote. You know, not this early at least. But say, hey, you know what? We're just going to go with this big brand distributor because, you know, we're going to be able to get more volume out. But hell, if I can't get the volume to the distributor, what are we doing?
correct.
You know, I mean, we're going backwards, and then that's when everything starts going backwards.
100%.
You know, so one of the questions out there is where can I find the brand or find the product? The product where can
In
they
Georgia,
find it?
or just
It's on a truck right now. To
Either
Georgia.
way,
Online right now, so www.tequilacayeya.com is today where you'd find it, but it's going to be in Georgia on shelves in the next week to 2 weeks. And I think sort of tacking on to what Sam was saying about working with people that want to work with us, that's the story for Georgia.
so wait, so what I'm understanding is that you guys are not in Georgia yet,
it's on a truck
It's on a
right
truck.
now. Lands next week.
and we got you guys here before
Right
the
here,
product is here.
Yes,
this is literally
This
the
is the
first. This is
launch.
the launch right
This
here.
is the launch,
baby.
This is the launch.
This
This
is
is the
it.
launch. This is
Look
it.
at this, and we are
I
here at
love it.
a Series Cigar Lounge at 230 Thornton Road in Lithia Springs, and we just got great news. Breaking news is that, hey, you guys haven't even gotten it yet, but it's here with us today. This is awesome. So
Aaron
bottles
Rodgers
in the
is
state.
Aaron Rodgers is doing his press conference now, but who cares, man?
Yeah.
He's drinking tequila.
listen, I haven't been caring about Aaron
Rodgers since it started. But,
Listen, I'm from Chicago, so I can give a damn about Aaron Rodgers. But right now, I'm okay with Aaron Rodgers.
I didn't either. Now we're in New York and we're like, I love Aaron, man.
That's true.
You know.
So speaking of New York, so you guys are Jets or Giants fans?
I'm a Giants fan.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion here in Georgia, but I'm a Patriots fan.
Oh, I don't give a damn about
They're
Georgia.
always everybody has an unpopular opinion about the Falcons.
So then I got another question.
Yeah.
Are you guys Knicks fans?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel right now, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Excited.
We're praying and hoping. But yeah, we
It's
feel
looking good.
It's good.
It's looking good.
They've been great. It's been a long time, so it's exciting to see.
No, I mean,
And the Rangers. Hey, don't count out the Rangers.
and the Hawks
I
last night.
didn't forget.
Hawks pulled a big one out last night.
Yeah, they did. That was wild.
Let me
Did
tell
that
you.
job, right?
Let me tell you.
Ooh, Trey, man.
Trey,
Say what you want about Ice Trey.
listen, I'm
Dude.
just like everybody else
Hey.
who was in Atlanta, and also the broadcasters. They said, "No, don't. Never mind." Everybody said that.
No, it's Jokic. Who? Yeah. So,
I wouldn't go there.
well, I'm sorry.
I would not go there.
Look, having haters is a good thing, Trey. I mean, there's a reason people.
no.
I mean, people.
We really haven't had a villain
Yeah.
on the Hawks, right?
Right? No.
So, do we want to dive into age stuff? We need to talk.
Listen,
about
that's what's on the list next.
All right,
You know,
let's do
I really want to make sure we talk about this reposado.
Yeah.
The reposado. It says that the distillate produced the tequila and single barrels as a repo, right? And exposed to less oxygen during the fermentation process. So what does that mean to the average consumer?
Meaning exposing it to less oxygen,
Yeah.
or it's actually how we created these single barrel products in the first place. So Charlie, just to step out for a second, but
Right.
he ex-Whistle Big, so obviously a rye whiskey brand, whiskey background, and when we started developing the tequila, we we realized that a lot of the aging processes and what you're able to do when you age the distillate is it has a lot of similarities to bourbon Scotch whiskey. And I think from what we started to notice was a lot of bourbon Scotch whiskey drinkers coming over to the tequila category. Because again, it's like if you talk to my mother or father, the first time I offered them my tequila, they were like, "Get the fuck out of here!" no, because their experience with tequila was Jose Cuervo,
Yeah.
and it was that one bad time when they went to high school or college where they got too shit faced, and it ended
went on
badly.
that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like that was kind of their foray into it, and then they didn't touch it or talk about it for a while. But I think, and by the way, educationally within the category, there's still kind of I don't want to say a lack of education, but there's the education is certainly not caught up yet within the tequila categories or reposados, añejos, extra añejos. Right. So what we really wanted to do, and the focus on what we wanted to do, was to create something for whiskey, Scotch, bourbon drinkers within tequila, but still appeal to the general tequila palate of what people liked and thought was, satisfying palate-wise. And go ahead.
You mentioned that because I'm a huge Scotch guy. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
And when I first tasted this, I did get, and I think we talked about this, the different flavored notes that we got from the tequila, right?
Sure.
And I did get a little bit of that vanilla, which
Mhm.
normally comes in a blended Scotch.
Yeah.
From what I understand, this is like you put this in a blended
So
barrel.
what we do is for the repo, the process is it's single barrel, single finish.
Okay.
So it's never blended with anything else. It starts at American oak for 9 months,
Got it.
ex-bourbon barrels, and the sweetness is from the ex-bourbon corn. Right? So corn provides sweetness to the distillate typically. So the sweetness comes from the corn. Then we finish it off for 2.5 months in French wine barrels, which has a nice, smooth kind of little bit of
Settles it down.
a little peppery finish to it. Some nice characteristics. So it's single barrel, single finish. So that's kind of where you get that vanilla caramel from. Is from the ex-bourbon barrels. But again, this is a labor of love. And when you talk about aging, for anybody tapped in right now, very kind of simple to look at it from reposado, añejo, extra añejo. A repo needs to be aged over 2 months, but less than a year. Añejo is over a year, but less than 3 years. And then an extra añejo is anything over 3 years. That's kind of the spread of tequila. And what we did with our our reposado is we aged it for 11.5 months. So it's 2 weeks short of becoming an añejo. So you get a lot of those beautiful notes from and it's beautiful. It's a great liquid. But it's also single barrel. So there's not a ton of single barrel tequila out there, single barrel, especially single barrel, single finish. So it's really unique in that sense for a tequila, but also brings out, to your point, doesn't taste like a repo, doesn't taste like an añejo. It's a really distinct kind of taste profile for what we've created. And the next step up is our Añejo, which is 15 and a half months in American and 2.5 in French for a total of 18 months. But the difference between the two products is the Añejo is bottled at cask strength.
Yeah,
So-
and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
next, but I just wanted to show the people what this bottle looks like. I'm sorry, it comes in very crappy, but it's a dark green bottle.
I think it's beautiful.
And I'm going to talk about the logo here in just a minute, but you cannot beat this Reposado with any tequila. Let me just speak for myself. I've not tasted Reposado like this anywhere.
Yeah, I think Leo brings up a good point. A lot of the tequilas that I've had, and this could speak to the single cask, single fit, the finishing. A lot of the repos that I get, they're on that border of, getting that ex-bourbon kind of vibe, the caramel, vanilla, things like that. But then there's just, for me, I get a lot of spice and pepperiness.
Well, I
with
think
repos. And
So I think there's two parts to that. So I think one part of that is they're not. So we rechar every barrel we use, so you get a fresh char on it.
okay,
So it's actually aged whiskey and then gets recharged.
Really?
all right.
So that's number one, and then number two, American Wood tends to give you more spicy. That's the recharring, but
Oh yeah, those
The recharring process
so
of every barrel that's done.
American Wood tends to give you like bigger, peppery,
Yeah.
spicier notes, and French Wood tends to be more subtle and delicate.
Mhm.
So I think when you just age it in an American cask, and we've tasted samples that are just American cask, and we've tasted samples that are just French cask, the fact that we're doing both, you get the best of both worlds in the sense that you're getting the pepperiness up kind of in the front palate, and then it finishes really delicately because you're getting that French. And I always find it fascinating because the liquid doesn't know when it spent time in American versus French, but when you taste it,
Right.
you get the pepper front, and then it finishes, and that's like subtle, almost like it was always aged in French. So you get all like the full flavor palette of the best of both worlds of each barrel. But I just find it weird that you get the American in the front when it's aged in the American first, and then you get the French after, and it's aged in the French after. So it's pretty interesting.
He's such a French guy too.
I am a French guy.
Are you?
Well,
We're
so
gonna say
yeah, we'll say that for another
Just a story
episode.
for
But
another night.
long story short, my mom was a French teacher forever, and all of our kids were named French names. Right. I have no H in my name, no K.
Right.
I still have to deal with that.
Nikolai, almost Russian.
Nico Law on GPS, by the way. When I'm in an Uber,
Yeah.
Siri or whoever it is.
Oh,
It's like, Nico Law, you will be at your destination soon, Nico Law. I'm like,
I don't have a problem with Siri
Nikolai.
whenever I say call Nick.
I don't like Nico Law. I mean, to change my
It's almost
podcast name.
It's almost Russian, bro.
Nico
So,
Law the
You
Great.
guys take a look at the label here, or the branding of this tequila. Get to know it, get to see it, especially everyone here in Georgia. Can you talk to us about how you came up with this wolf-looking design? I don't know if it's a wolf.
It
Am I
is.
saying
It
right?
is. No, it's great. It's a wolf. We get a lot of is it a lion? Is it a fox? It's a wolf. It's an abstract wolf, and the side, kind of, if you will, is the agave plant kind of sticking out of the back of the wolf.
That's neat.
My older brother who lives in Brooklyn, works closely. He gets some of his tattoos from a tattoo artist there. His name is Ruckus.
Uncle Ruckus.
Uncle Ruckus, exactly.
Bring the
And
workers.
he's actually the one who hand drew that logo for us, and we went through about 30 logos to finally get to that one. We really loved it. It's different. It's got some Aztec influence to it as well.
It does, yeah.
Very kind of geometric in some ways, but that's the origin of that logo. It's all hand drawn. It's all original, and then we cut it out of pewter. So that material is pewter, which is a kind of a metal material that's malleable. It's bendable, so kind of conform to the bottle, and that's where we came up with it. Yeah,
That's neat, man. I mean, and again, you guys, this is 80 proof. So
80 proof. Yep,
40% by volume.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I just love this damn Reposado. I'm gonna get into the Blanco though. I really love
Sure.
Blanco. So the process, the char levels for the Reposado, is that 3? Is it 4?
Yeah, it's 3. It's char 3.
Okay. So is that just from the American?
Yeah, so we rechar the American, and then the French actually, it's French wood that aged Zinfandel, so it's French wood but wine cask finish.
Got
So that does not get recharred. Just the American gets recharred, and that's char 3. But what's interesting is because it's single barrel, you get nuances barrel to barrel. So we offer a single barrel program, which is very unique in tequila. There's only a few brands that do it. But even our general market product is also single barrel. So we'll taste, like here today, we're tasting the barrel for the first time that we've never tasted.
Hope you guys like it.
Yeah. Hope you guys like
It's
it.
fun.
Hope.
No, this is
And then every bottle too. To speak more about the kind of the packaging is every bottle has a specific barrel and batch listed on it by hand and signed by someone. So
it's signed by her.
Yeah. She's got a signature on every bottle.
Yeah.
And the cool part about that is, people who have purchased through our website or through specific liquor stores, they'll find barrels that they really love. So, they like barrel 6 or barrel 12 or 14. They'll write in and they want more of a specific barrel, which is logistically a little bit of a nightmare for us.
Sure.
But it's been really fun to have people react the way they have to, the taste profile and nuances from barrel to barrel.
Will you offer them as obviously in the whiskey industry, it seems like everybody's offering private barrels now too.
Yeah, so
retail.
we do that as well. A little bit different than our repo general market is our single barrels are at 44% alcohol, so a little bit higher octane. The way that works, if anybody is in the retail restaurant world listening, it's we'll have a sample kit of anywhere between 4 and 8 samples to taste through at a given time. We don't have a ton available, so it's really hand selected for the few accounts that want to make an investment in us and an investment in a liquid that they get a hand in choosing. But I think what's really unique about our program is there's not a lot of premium single tequila barrels. Like you have Maestro Dobel or Herradura, but those are all barely rested young barrels of major brands. So of the craft brand space, I don't think anybody's doing single barrel, private barrel tequilas.
No, I mean that's kind of the unique thing about it. Like I haven't seen, and I think that speaks to a lot of things, right? To our single barrels, different varies from batch, from barrel to barrel. But on the tequila realm, we all see it in almost every other brand of spirit, and it's really fascinating to find one where, because again, if for us being exposed to brands that they have a repo or an anejo, I mean they're usually they're masked, they're blends or they're batch of casks, and it's nice to actually pinpoint a specific flavor profile in a tequila in a barrel, one singular barrel.
I think that's kind of ties it all together of what you were saying before about being held to a volume number and like needing to grow and producing beyond what you need to do at the time to hit numbers. The reason that we're able to offer the program is we're doing all of and I alluded to this too about the CRT and having it be hard to do single barrel. You can't sample out of the tequila barrel the way you can a whiskey barrel. Like you can't just pop into the distillery and like grab a feed and like everyone has a good old time and is like, oh, let's drink out of this barrel. It's like so the CRT has to come. They actually tape the lug nut shut of the barrel so that if it's broken, the barrel is void. Because they don't want you to dump the barrel and put something in it later. So there's a lot of protection on that. So we actually, this kind of ties everything together, but with our repo and añejo, at 9 months, which is when we move it to that finishing cask, that's when we have a tasting panel. Everyone tastes through the barrels and says, okay, these are mature enough to become a reposado. They're ready for their finishing cask. These need more time in the American, and they're going to end up being our añejo. But that's the big reason why we don't have a ton of product out there is we have to make sure every single barrel is slotted into a specific category, and the CRT is there every time. So it's a very labor-intensive process, and that's why you don't see a lot of craft brands doing it.
What's the process of tasting these barrels that are destined for repo or añejo and going, okay, we're going to put these 10 barrels or something aside for single cask, for añejo, and what is going repo?
So we go down at least once a month to Mexico. We're always tasting different profiles.
Wait a minute. You said once a month?
Yep. Just about once a month. And we sit with Xandra, and we sit with the rest of the distillery team, and we have a whole panel of people that I can show you pictures of a table of like 40 samples that we go over 2 to 3 days of just like tasting and seeing, okay, these are in line with what we're looking for. These seem like they need more time. Like it really comes down to what we're looking for with the reposado is a very balanced, like you get agave, but you also get some wood. You don't want it to be over wood because then all you're getting is what the whiskey was and you're not really tasting tequila. So a lot of that decision making comes in just like the tasting and grouping them into buckets and all collaboratively working on the process.
Are you sure we're in the right business, dude?
I think we're missing.
We'd love to have you guys out there.
We're missing. Hey, just say
Have you been down there yet? To Guadalajara and then
listen, I've been to Guadalajara. I spent 22 years in the Navy. Got a chance to go down there at Guadalajara. I lived in San Diego, obviously with the Navy, so I've been to Tijuana, been to Rosarito.
Sure.
But no, I've never. At the time, I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of things like beer and cigars. I was just drinking to get fucked up, right? You know, as a young guy does, right? So no, I mean, I would love to
we're
go
still
back.
doing now.
But no, I would
changes.
love to go back and really visit and understand the process. You know, that's one of the things that I know Nick has been a part of for some years. I've been a part of the processes of cigars. So yeah, I would love to go down and see and really take a part of the agave plant, really look at it, see and feel and touch, all that good stuff, man. Yeah. So whenever you guys are ready, just let me know. Let us know.
Yeah. No,
That's right.
We're there.
100%.
That's right. And hey, we can go live out there too.
Yeah, that would be. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we should do it live from the distillery.
Exactly.
Great backdrop. It's in San Juanito on
Right.
top of a gorgeous.
Okay, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay, Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what? We can
We'll figure
figure
it
it
out.
out.
The stream might be a little shoddy, but we'll get it done.
You know, speaking of shoddy, so we're gonna be doing a show tomorrow down at Fellowship ATL with Cam Newton's spot, and you know we're gonna be there for the draft, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
So, are you guys looking forward to the draft at all?
We are more so him than I am. I'm a mediocre sports fan.
Okay.
Okay.
I can tell you the Patriots usually trade away their first round pick
Yeah.
Right.
for a bunch of second and third round picks, and most recently they just haven't worked out. So they're projecting that the Patriots get Bijan Robinson, but
Everybody wants Bijan.
my projection is they're going to trade back and get for their 14th pick. They're going to get a second, a sixth, or something. That doesn't matter.
That's the Patriot way.
That's the Patriot way.
I'm hoping the Bears get Bijan Robinson.
I am hearing Falcons, man.
Yeah, you're hearing everything.
I know.
And that's only because we watch ESPN every damn day.
Yeah. And they give the Atlanta or the Georgia crowd certain tidbits.
Right.
They're like, I think there's a good chance the Falcons will get him.
well, I will tell you this. This is and I grew up here. I'm a, I guess, lukewarm Falcons guy. Like I love NFL, but this is the most excited I've been about a Falcons draft in a long time. So I think it's going to be intriguing for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the Falcons got the shorthand with the Calvin Ridley thing, and like with Calvin and Drake Bell, that could be a dynamic wide receiver duo.
Oh, we got Pitts coming back. Like,
Right.
Yeah, and Pitts is like a wide receiver.
yeah, I mean,
Now you're getting
I think they need to drop the T tight end in anticipation of Pitts. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Are we doing?
Yeah,
let's
see how now.
I'll ride with you too.
yeah.
All right.
Oh man, we're not getting any work done for the rest of the day. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
well,
No. This is
So-
great.
So how did it go this week? Any really surprises or any kind of feedback?
Surprisingly well.
Yeah.
it was good. It was great.
Surprisingly well, guys. Come on, let's be
No, listen.
No,
modest as fuck.
fucking awesome.
What I will say,
Awesome. Crushed it.
coming to different markets is really cool. To see people's appreciation for spirits, and living in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has a little bit of that where people are interested in like what they're putting into their body and take more time to learn. But in Manhattan, you get a lot of just like name brands, like who's going to support the most kind of business, and come into these other markets where people ask the right questions and are interested in what we have to say and interested in learning more about the brand for more than, oh, I've heard of that before because I saw this celebrity toting it. It's really refreshing and gives us passion, and it gives us motivation to keep going, because you can go to a market visit where it's all about like how much support are you going to give me back, and like who's behind this brand, like
Right.
what's your celebrity marketing strategy, and if that's what they're looking for, that's not us. But when you come to a place like here, everybody at the trade show is asking us the right questions. They're asking about the producer. They're asking about the production methods. They're asking about like the single barrel, what barrels we're using. They're taking an interest, and I think that's really refreshing.
If they don't take interest in, they're fucking fools.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now, I almost sank in my seat. I wasn't just trying
Move
to get
on.
close to you. As much as I love you. But I just nosing this is just phenomenal, guys.
So this is at cash strength. So
What's that? It'll tell you on the barrel. I don't know what strength that is. 51 or
This is 51.
51.
Yeah.
51.
So 100, 102 proof.
102.
You can't
Yeah.
produce tequila above 108 proof or 110 proof.
Yeah.
It's the highest that you can distill at, and then you lose some of the alcohol in the
Right.
barrel. So the barrels vary. We see some that are like 50.5. We see some that are like 53.5. They really vary in a couple percentage points in terms of alcohol percentage. But I was lucky enough to work with Dave Pickerel at Whistlepig, and Dave always told me that the delivery agent of flavor was proof. And I think what he meant by that is like kind of dissecting it is when you put water into a spirit, as you're bringing down the heat of the alcohol, you're also diminishing the flavor.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's finding that right point. And a lot of the times whiskeys are too hot because they come off the still like 140. Where in tequila, at barrel strength, you're getting an insane spirit. And it's not too hot. That brings a lot of flavor, a lot of spice.
Leo, I think, is
Listen.
having an epiphany.
This ain't because I was going to say something else. This ain't because we're on camera, guys. This is a fan-fucking-tastic Añejo. I can't think of anything that's even close to comparison. I may be wrong,
No.
but I'll be damned. I mean,
Yeah.
you cannot find. Listen, 1942 ain't got shit on this.
Who?
Color, yeah, exactly. Color. I mean,
Okay, so
Nose?
talk about the Añejo. So,
it's limited
Same.
barrels, right?
Yeah, very limited.
Super limited.
So in
and
Georgia,
this
we
is
got, like,
all,
3
by the
barrels.
way, I think we forgot to mention, you guys, everything's on a release schedule.
Yeah.
So repo is pretty much 3 times a year, and Añejo twice a year. We do very, very little of the Añejo.
Is there a reason why?
It's just like, again, we're there once a month. We've got to really, it's just intense it's an intense labor of love to taste, to say this is
Yeah.
ready, this
Yeah,
isn't,
yeah.
how are we going to put this out. So,
and you just don't want to put it out.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
This
What-
is so silky.
What's the cask? Is it the same process as the Repo? in
Yeah,
terms
so
of
it's
the cask?
15 and a half in American. So what happens is we taste the sample, and if we're not ready to make it a repo, it goes back for another, I guess, 6.5 months,
Yeah.
and then finishes the same 2.5 in French. And I think you can taste it. The big thing that's cool about tasting the repo next to the Añejo is the repo is more like well balanced in the sense that you get agave and you get wood. This you get a lot more spicy, a lot less of that like delicate finish that you taste on the repo because it spends more time in the American.
Yeah, I always get, especially from French. This is going into French oak as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I always get this vibe of like dry fruits, or like almost dehydrated fruits.
Right.
You can't concentrate those flavors. But you're right. Like it is got a little more of, obviously with the cask, with the strength, you get a little more spice in the back end, and that finish is just lovely.
Just lingers forever.
yeah.
It
It's
does
not
the
it's
wing,
not
yeah.
too hot for 102 proof.
No.
It's not hot.
Yeah, which is.
I mean, you get a little bit of spice on the back of the palate
right.
as it finishes, and then it stays for just a couple seconds, and it's gone.
I mean, this is going to be a first for us, Leo.
Good.
Cask strength. I mean, I don't think. I mean, there can't be.
There's some like still strength stuff out that's
Yeah,
Blanco.
that's different.
Not a lot of people
but not.
So I'll give you a
strength.
good example,
Right.
which actually, I mean, you guys get to talk to a lot more people, so stay tuned on the answer to this. But like, I was at a trade show next to Cascanes, which is a big tequila now, like very traditional, and they have their blancos are all 100+ proof, and then their Repo and Añejo are 80 proof, which is almost opposite of kind of like what we're doing.
Right.
And I'm curious to hear like kind of why they made those decisions and what I mean they're purposeful decisions, but like what's maybe they get more liquid out of the barrel because they prove it down to 80, but I don't really know.
I think it's volume. I mean, I think it's a sales thing. I mean,
I would
we
imagine.
saw makers and Buffalo try this
Right.
before.
Right.
You know, when they wanted to, when they had that shortage and they were trying to drop the proof to help build up stocks, and consumers aren't stupid, man.
No.
like what the fuck are you doing?
especially in that world.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because we're doing this, and a lot of people from an educational standpoint don't understand why we are. But if you go over to a category like whiskey, Scotch, bourbon, it's so common.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of the basis of single barrel. Why we're doing single barrel, why we're doing unique finishes. We have some incredible stuff. We got to send you guys a couple bottles at the end of the year. We're aging right now in Cuban rum casks.
Holy
and
shit!
it's fucking out of control.
You got me.
But like stuff like that is we're really trying to bring that influence into the category in a way where people can kind of experience tequila in a much different way than they traditionally have.
How do you create a tequila in a rum cask though? I mean, well, not how do you create it? I mean, obviously it's pretty obvious. But what are your expectations of a tequila?
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah, I think it's trial and error. I think it's like I've talked to even talking to Dave, just like he used to look down the flavor Bible, just like things he thought that would make sense, and like you have the spiciness and like the minerality from the tequila and the sweetness from the rum, and so they sort of cancel each other out, and you get something very balanced.
Yeah.
We're also looking at doing like interesting like cognac casks and champagne casks, and we're looking at mezcals that we're going to finish in port and sherry, like really cool, innovative. Like if you take mezcal as a good example, right? Like how do you know it's going to react with port and sherry? You look at Scotch, and a lot of the Scotches are finished as a port and sherry. So you take like the smoky tequila base is very similar. So the mechanics of the distillation and maturation are very similar once you have that base spirit. So we're looking to what we see in other categories and just bringing that in.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's just one of those things where, again, you are playing with something that you don't know what the outcome is going to be, and that's kind of the beautiful part of it, right? Finishing has become a very popular thing across the board. So that's really cool, though.
It's like art.
I'm excited.
It's like,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I've never heard of a tequila company trying to use different casks for with flavors to create a tequila. I mean, that's really different, man.
And look, there is some stuff available on the market. Some people are doing like the Don Julios of the world are doing, their Rosas and other stuff. But I think with us, and what really sets us apart is, the single barrel aspect of this. It's very, very nuanced.
That is cool.
In a lot of ways. So like, you don't really, and then you're importing barrels, right? So we're importing barrels from Cuba, and those barrels have different characteristics, right? So there's a lot of different intricacies and nuances to what we're doing, and I think the exciting part is you open a different bottle from another barrel, and it's always kind of a different experience. It's very experiential in that sense, where you don't know what you're going to get. It's in the same realm of taste profile, right? It's the same type of cask, but ultimately it's really about the experience, and you can say, oh my gosh, barrel. And it's all subjective, of course, but barrel 10 is amazing, or 15, or you really, it's a very personal experience for the consumer that's investing in buying a bottle like Cayeya, Repo, or some of our limited releases that are coming where, more power to the consumer. They decide on what they like, but at least we're offering a variety where it's, again, it becomes an experience for them to taste something different from bottle to bottle.
So what's the goal for Tequila Cayeya? What's the end goal? What's the plan?
I think it's to keep our heads down long enough and to stick to our guns in terms of innovation and brand building in the way that we've kind of not to get ahead of ourselves and look at kind of obviously keep your eye on the prize, but really to build a brand that's known for quality, that's reliable, right? Where you're going to get quality liquid in every package. I think if you look at a lot of mass-produced brands, they've been up and down with quality for a really long time, because if they need to create more, produce more, the issue with that is you're going to cut corners or start to cut corners when you need to ramp production up, right? So you're kind of deviating from your original production processes when this starts to happen. And for us, it's look, from a business perspective, it's not always the most fun, right? We're grinding on this,
but
we have more faith in like sitting here and having conversations with you guys where you have an appreciation for it. We'll come back, we'll continue to talk about it, and if we can find some brand champions and advocates along the way, I I think we'll get to our final destination and our final destination for us is, can we hold the brand for a long time?
Yeah.
Can we be profitable? Can we do really great stuff and experimental stuff that appeals generally to the masses at a point in time? It's not going to happen overnight, but that's kind of the end goal. And I think, look, a lot of people wouldn't sit here and say that's their strategy. I think it's getting into the business. They read a headline on Casamigos and they want to make $1 billion, and that's fine. I think, look, money's great and everybody wants to make money. And I think the best money made is when you execute on a plan and deliver your ultimate goal on the brand and get there your way. It's not to do what everybody else is doing.
Money's the byproduct of success.
It's the byproduct of success.
Absolutely.
Say that again for the people in the back of the room.
Yeah, right. And it's I know in this industry, and I'm sure it's in the cigar industry, it's easy to deviate from that when things aren't going your way, right? And I think we see this shift, this trend of. I think COVID was a direct. COVID was really the vehicle that started this. People were starting to really go, all right, I got to start drinking. I got to start drinking better.
Oh hell yeah.
I got to start smoking better.
Yeah,
I've got to do everything better. We've all got to pivot here. And we saw it at ASW. Some of our, and we're not up to that level in terms of price, but even our higher price stuff, our single barrel stuff, was outselling our core stuff. And a lot of people could speak to that.
Sure,
and,
I know I can.
Yeah, and it was just like one of these things where like, wow, everybody is starting to finally get it in terms of
I think
appreciation.
price is relative, right? Like,
right.
You're putting a price point on something, and that's just a mark you put in the sand. But realistically, it's like once people experience the brand and they realize that there's actually backing to that price point, then all of a sudden that doesn't seem so expensive. Like if I sat here today, and I'm not saying Pappy's great or not great, but if I said, here's a $500 bottle of Pappy, you'd take that in 2 seconds. And it's still $500, which is expensive, but for Pappy, it's not, right? So it's like, it's relative to what people believe is worth something.
Is it really though?
Well, but that.
And no knock against Pat.
No, but that's the argument. Like what he said. It's what is that consumer doing with that bottle?
Correct.
Right?
Are
they turning it around and
Selling it.
flipping it?
Yeah, exactly.
Here, I'll give you a better example. Like take Closet Azul Ultra. It's
Yeah.
a $1,700 bottle on the shelf. If I was like, here's it for $700, you'd be like, I'm taking that today.
Yeah.
But $700 is still $700.
Right.
That's correct,
It's
sir.
expensive.
That's correct, sir.
There's no doubt about it, but
Right.
relative value of that product is worth a lot more than that. So
Right.
for us, like when you talk about brand building, is making people realize and come to when you have that experience where you sink back in your chair and you're like, this is the best shit I've ever tasted. $150 on the shelf doesn't seem so bad. It's
Yes. It's
So-
perception.
it's perception.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is this is a $150 bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
$150 bottle for the Añejo guys. So this is what it looks like. It's a clear bottle. Has the label down at the bottom. Still has the brand.
Insignia. Wolfhead.
Logo.
Wolf.
Yep.
Okay, Wolf insignia that's on the front. Sorry about the glare in the background, but this is
My shiny head is lighting up.
this is
Yeah.
this is by far one of the best tequilas.
Yeah.
As far as Añejo is concerned, that I've had, man.
Thank you. No,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate that.
And
We actually tasted it up against a couple other things, and again, we'll go to brands. When Andrea was with us a couple weeks ago, and there, you almost have to, put it up against other things.
I love that. That's like the best because I think it's so crazy you say that because we've done so many blind tastings and what we found every time is like I'm not even kidding. We've had people that only claim they're 1942 drinkers or Clase Azul drinkers or all other shit.
Yeah.
They'll pick us out of the lineup 9 times out of 10.
cool.
And then they'll be like, no, but that's the Clase. We're like, no, it's not. That's Cayeya, and you just shot down 9 of 10 other brands.
I was gonna say you're close
And
with the
it's
season.
tell us,
And
but
in
it's
fact,
like
you said
it's
you
like-
didn't like the
no,
Clase at
but
all.
context is so
Yeah.
important when you do this stuff. It's the most amazing thing, and I think it's
Yeah.
so. It's also, and the reason I love it. And by the way, when you do a high-end tequila tasting like this, or a sipping tequila tasting, or if you put Casamigos in there. And by the way, these are all great brands. We're not saying that to say these are bad brands. People like what they like. If you like the brand, beautiful. We want people to like what they like. But it's just amazing when you create that spread of comparison. People don't even realize they gravitate, they gravitate towards shit that they really like, and they taste. You couldn't even imagine the shit that we've seen
Oh no, yes I can.
It's like it's
Oh, yes,
just
I can.
it's the most bizarre thing.
People do it all the
I've
time
seen
in the
it all the
cigar
time.
industry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
It's
they'll
crazy.
go by what a label looks like, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's the cigar that I like to choose, and I'm like, well, why?
Right.
And I have these people who I've challenged for the Padron cigars, right? And they say, oh, I love Padron because they're consistent and things of this nature. I'm like, okay, cool. But here's another brand. I'm like, no, I'll never smoke it. So I literally challenged some guys some years ago, and I took off the Padron band, okay, and I put on another band, and I gave them, I gave it to them. And I said, hey, smoke this. This is your favorite cigar, right? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, this is Padron. No, it's not.
I got a
And when
very similar
people
story.
don't know without a brand name attached to it, they figure out who they really are, in my personal opinion. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I were to see this bottle,
That's a great story.
Right.
if I were to see this bottle in any store, any of these bottles, I mean, just take off all the logos and all the branding, right? Let me see these bottles and compare them to
Name
another
brands.
name brand or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm gonna say, well, you know what? This is a damn good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just give me the glasses in front of me, you say, hey, here's a Blanco, here's a Blanco,
Sure.
here's a Blanco, right? I would say I'm part of that 9 times out of 10.
Right.
I'm gonna go with the Cayeya,
Right.
and that's just honest to God.
100%.
I mean, I've tried a lot of different tequilas. I've tried a lot of different spirits. Period. And some of them I can pick out very easily. We just did a tasting with Angel's Envy,
Mhm.
and we put some Woodford with it, and you can easily tell the difference not only by the nose.
The Angels Envy rye tastes like pancakes.
Man, you better go
Dude.
with it.
Hello.
You better go with it.
Pancake syrup. That's
Man.
what pancakes and
We
syrup.
talked to the rep and said, dude, are you guys planning on making syrup out of this?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
Whistle
telling you,
Pig, like Whistle Pig
like
started
Whistle
that.
Pig, right.
Yeah.
And some other companies did that. But, I mean, I think people get attached to the labels versus what their palate is.
Right.
And
Sam has a great story about this.
And, it's your exact story in liquor.
I go
Same
by
thing.
this. I tell people all the time, trust your palate, not a label.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
what
I
I
mean,
go
it's
by.
always
Easier said than done,
it's
right?
just amazing though. Look, brands are, and they always are. I mean, we use this comparison all the time. And by the way, this is not knocking any brands
No.
or whatever, but creating a brand is a beautiful thing. It's a tough thing to do. But if you take a brand like Bathing Ape, or you take a brand like Gucci, I mean, they could print anything on a T-shirt that's worth 20 cents and sell it
For thousands.
of dollars. It's the brand. It's a status
And
symbol.
that's just going to fade tomorrow.
But it's a badge
Yeah.
badge of honor. It's something that someone's comfortable
Right.
wearing or projecting to the general public that they're
Yes.
a part of, right? Because they feel like
Seen
they're
and
a
be
part
seen.
of it. Correct. So I think that's an important thing, and I think that's tougher than look. Let's be honest. There's a lot of incredible bad brands out there. That's great. So for us, and now we're getting back to just like square one business stuff. It's like, can we create something that has the best of both worlds? We want
Yeah.
integrity in product, but we also really care about creating a brand that people are proud of drinking and want to showcase and want to show off.
Right.
But yes, you're right. I have the exact same story in liquor, man. It's
So
just
you gotta hear the
crazy.
story.
So should we
This
wrap
is-
this up with this story?
I'm going to wrap it up with this story.
Yeah.
Yes, but what I'm going to do is say this, is that Nick and I have this thing about craft in the spirit world. Okay? I'm not going to say what it is,
Sure.
but I'm going to ask you,
What does it mean?
I'm going to ask you, do you consider yourself craft tequila, or are you a premium tequila?
Well, I don't think like craft. I think
It's overused.
also it's a very it's that term is like small batch craft. Like, look, I think it's
And
look,
craft.
everyone. Yeah, exactly.
Is it not?
Is Tito's still handcrafted? I mean, come on. It's like no, seriously, it's on
Yeah,
everybody.
No, I know.
No, but
It's
my
on
point,
everyone.
I think it's like when I just say craft, I'm more referring to like the size we're at in terms of volume, rather not production processes. I'm saying,
Well, yeah.
like, and I think a lot of people refer to it as that. Is
Yeah.
this is the size we're at now in terms of like case volumes being
Right.
but, like,
Boutique is a good word.
Boutique, right.
Yes, yes.
I
That's
like
a term.
boutique.
That's a term that's overused in the cigar industry.
Artisanal. I like artisanal.
By the way,
Artisanal,
I
yes.
he hates
Artisanal.
this saying, but this is something I came up with, and he was like, "We're not doing this." But the term designer distillate, it's kind of
Designer?
no. I'm saying designer distillate is like the Casamigos. It's they're at this level where it's the Gucci, it's the Prada, they're that big,
Right.
so identifiable.
Wow.
With that, and we're just
Yeah.
kind of we're the regular Joes making tequila.
I like it.
But we're excited about it.
So let's hit this story, man. What's
So
your
I work for
story?
a company. I won't disclose the party. It's a very similar story to your cigar story. What happened was there was a brand being created, and the brand that was being created was pitched to a big celebrity.
Yeah.
And the manager of the celebrity said, "We're big drinkers of, for instance, for champagne, and I only like this brand. It's the only brand I like."
I love that.
We send them the bottle, or actually I didn't, but my CEO at the time sent them the bottle. Guy writes an email back and says, "Hey, I got to tell you, we can't do it. It's not, we're only this type of drinker, or it's whatever." And my CEO at the time says, "That's really funny because I sent you what you like." It was a blank bottle. We sent them the exact shit you liked, and the guy told me he didn't like it. Again, to your story, right?
Right,
It's
exactly.
it's perception. It's bullshit.
People don't
So-
know.
Correct.
People don't know.
Yeah,
And that's why I always stress to people, understand your palate.
Yeah.
If you don't understand your palate,
correct. You're not
then
true to yourself.
you're not true to yourself.
That's it.
You're not doing anything
You like
to
what
help
you like.
yourself, right? And I love people that say I like what I like, and I'm cool with that. But do you know what it is that you like?
This is a shameless Smoke Wagon plug, but we just met the guy who runs Smoke Wagon,
Yeah.
Aaron, and he was
Legend.
talking. Yeah, legend. But he was talking about sourcing whiskey from MGP, and he was talking about how when people find out it's sourced, sometimes he gets shit from these people
Yeah.
that previously liked it, and then they find out it's sourced, and they start hating on him. And he's like, "You liked it before, you're the son." You find out the origin story, and all of a sudden you don't like it, That's
Yeah.
bullshit. Who cares that it's sourced? You fucking like it.
I almost feel like we need a Webster's dictionary for spirits, right?
I don't.
You see the word handcrafted,
I don't.
non-GMO.
Like
I
what's
don't.
what's
Listen,
what's the
this is-
what's
This
the
is what
What's the
we're
definition?
here for. This is what we're
No,
doing.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? The hell with the dictionary.
Yeah.
We're going to continue doing this thing. We're going to continue educating people, continue making sure that people understand and know what it is they like and what they don't like, and why they like it and why they don't like it.
Yeah. Right.
That's just bottom line. And I really, really, really do appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah, this is
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us, man. This
This
is
is
fantastic.
fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thanks, guys.
Listen, you guys, Cayeya. Tequila
Tequila
Cayeya.
Cayeya.
Yes. Make sure that you find it in your local Georgia stores. Make sure you find it in your local stores wherever you are. If you don't try it, I don't know what the hell else to tell you.
We'll
if
talk
you-
Brian into getting it here.
Well, yeah, he's gonna have to get it here to see it. Listen, you cannot beat this tequila, guys. Just like I said, just try the Blanco. If you don't want to spend the money whenever you're at your local bar or cigar lounge, just try the Blanco. You will not be disappointed, 100% whatsoever. So, any last words? Any parting words for you
No,
guys?
just again, thanks for having us. This is awesome, and it's a great launch to the market, boy.
I'm gonna-
We're going out on a high note,
I'm gonna ask you guys,
like George. We're going out on a high note.
I'm gonna ask you guys some real quick questions.
Yeah.
Ooh, rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Oh, let's
Absolutely.
do it. All right.
So, just off the top of your head, all right. What other tequila brand do you drink?
What do we drink? G4.
Never heard of
Los Dos, a buddy of ours, is involved with a brand called Los Dos, great brand, from NOM 1414. Sergio Cruz over the distiller is amazing. Another brand from 1424 where we're made is called Dotted Salmo, which is really good.
Obviously, this is a casual answer, but Fortaleza. We met the owner of
Okay.
Fortaleza.
And by the way,
Fortaleza.
they're really cool guys. It's just two guys.
All right.
From
Guy and his dad.
That's it.
Oh, cool.
Love Fortaleza.
But yeah, those are some of the Blancos that we drink.
So people always ask me, like, Leo, how many cigars do you smoke a day? So I'm gonna ask you guys, how many drinks do you take a day?
My liver is crying. And we're gonna have another drink after this.
Right.
And then I'm gonna drop dead before I go to the airport.
It's not a pretty number, but it's probably reduced from the Whistle Pig days, if I had to say, because at Whistle Pig it was 100 proof every time, and you're looking at a drink and a half per drink. I was probably drinking 80 drinks a week. something like that.
Holy. But agave is good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Helps you.
It's healthy.
So, last question: who's your Mount Rushmore,
Brand wise,
spirit wise?
Spirit wise.
Who's that one person that does, or the persons?
Four. Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore.
in tequila or just
General.
You call it.
You know what? You're gonna hate this answer,
I won't.
but I think what Tito did is really inspiring. I mean, if you really look at it,
Sure.
he's been at it for 26 years. Number one. Number two, he did it himself. He is a 97% owner. He never sold out. And I think he went into a category, and we hear this all the time. People are like, "Oh, tequila's so crowded. Like, how are you going to get into tequila?"
Yeah.
And he went into vodka when people didn't think you could even make vodka in the U.S., let alone from corn, let alone from. And he was going around doing it himself. Like, I really value his persistence and like going after the fact that like he believed in it. And I can tell you how many distributors I've been to that were like, "Oh, Tito came in here and begged us to take the brand and said no," and then they turn around years later, and that would have made their business. Like they turned away a guy who would have, he could make his own distributorship and outsell all these guys. So I think what's impressive about what he's done is just like he stuck to his guns and he fucking owned it.
And by the way, not a single flavored vodka. It's one.
Yeah, one product.
that's
Just
it,
fucking
one
stuck
product.
to it.
Yeah.
13 million cases, I think, approximately 22. Not a single flavor, not a single can.
Right.
Just one
Get
product.
it, drink it.
That's a good point.
That's a good one. We love, I think like larger than life people. Like I think, me correct me if I'm wrong, Smoke Wagon's just
Smoke wagon.
it's just such a and the owner is really Aaron. Has really made a fucking name for himself and just doing it his way and just being a badass. And, he's not a big celebrity, but he's a dude that's so passionate about it. Yeah. Like his table yesterday at the Prime Trade Show, it was himself. No helping, no nothing.
Love
He came and just get up. It was him, main stage. That's what he was doing all day. That would be number 2.
I'll throw another one.
Go ahead.
But I think a guy I worked for, Lee Einseidler, he was Grey Goose, he was Jägermeister USA, and he was Casamigos. So I think you don't find lightning in a bottle 3 times if you're not good at what you do.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think he was able to create brand equity about brands. And I mean, there's a bunch of vodkas that come out of France, and there's a lot of tequila, obviously. There's a lot of, Jägermeister kind of stands on its own, but it doesn't, obviously taste is subjective, but a lot of people that taste Jägermeister aren't like, I love this stuff. Their marketing was built off of similar to Malort. Like, it doesn't taste that good. Like, be a man and drink it.
That's the point.
That's
right?
the
That's the point. So I think what he did was, again, the fact that you could hit it 3 times like that, and not to mention when he was running Sidney Frank, they had Monkey 47, which is an amazing brand. They had Gekkan Sake, which is an amazing brand. So, I mean, he's really had his fingers in a lot of successful products. So I think he's on my radar.
Yeah, cool. And then the last one to round it out before we close, gonna give it up, man. I think my last boss, Brett Barish, was pretty fucking on his pulse and doing this shit. It was Creator Ace of Spades, Bel Air Rosé, Queen. But really, before the celebrity craze came into the industry, he was really good at what he did in creating brands and developing brands. Not that I love the juice so much, or I think it was the most phenomenal thing, but I think from a branding perspective, he really knocked it out of the park and had his kind of finger on the pulse with the times and creating great partnerships. And that was it. But anyway, fellas, I know we're
awesome.
We're playing the Grammy music, baby.
Shit, we could be.
That's it. I know.
Where's the music?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, we appreciate you guys coming in, spending your time with us.
No, thanks, man. You guys are around for another drink after we get off too.
Yeah, we're not going.
No, I gotta go home.
Yeah.
No,
drink. We got a flight, man. Don't do it like that.
No, we
We'll get you
appreciate
on
you
the
guys,
plane.
and
Thank you guys so much.
big ups to Andrea once again to
Thanks,
bring you
Andrea.
guys in. Really love her. Really appreciate everything that she's done for us.
Yes.
We got to get you on the payroll. There's no payroll, but we got to get you in on the team and do some great things. And we're gonna get on her payroll. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys so much.
Glad you guys came in with us, and as I said, Nick really just has me working day and night. So make sure you guys join us tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow we will be at Fellowship. We'll be talking to ATL Cigar Co. We're also going to be talking NFL draft.
NFL draft, baby.
Yeah, I mean, trade with the Jets.
Lifestyle.
Yep, trade with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers just happened. We got Lamar Jackson still out there, still going. Then we got, my Bears. Who the hell are they going to choose? Who are the Falcons going to choose? What are they really going for? So just come on out. We're going to be talking everything cigars, the new ATL cigar, Wise Blood.
Yes.
Can't wait to smoke that. I haven't smoked it yet.
No.
Can't wait to smoke that.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And a really quick shout out to Twin and the staff at Sarah for letting us go
a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, so you guys make sure. please come down here.
Yes.
Serious Cigar Lounge, 230 Thornton Road, Lithia Springs. Check them out. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. And you guys have a fantastic rest of your freaking day. And with that,
We're out.
peace. Done.